Okay, so this time I'm going to do text that is cursive, that has some sort of element of curve to it. Because Maria, you want to just know how to extend some of those possibly, or are you talking about starting one from scratch?
To like
extend something. Okay, so let's choose this one. Oh, that's pretty terrible. Let's not choose that one. I don't really have a lot of scripts on here. I'll try this one. Okay, so here's some curves. So if I wanted to extend or modify this one, same thing. Oh, except last time I did the type create outlines. You can also go to object expand. Either way, it does the same thing. So for this one, it's just kind of dependent on you and what kind of curvature you'd want. I'm going to ungroup it again. So if that E, let's say you wanted to extend its curve here, you would just choose its last couple points.
Okay.
And start to move them. And then if you need to do something like like change the curve, you'd have to go in with your add anchor point tool, add a couple points probably. And these ones would be a little tricky because they work in tandem. It looks like a line, but it's actually a shape, and so you'd have to choose the points that need to be, modified together. I didn't choose the right ones. And you'd have to so I'd have to add a curve to this one. I'd have to add a curve between here and here. You get the idea. Sometimes, though, it might be easier, just FYI. We didn't get to the brush tool yet, but I'll just show you something quick. So let's say that I wanted to extend this out. I probably would open up my layers. And, oh, where'd it go? Layers. Hiding someplace. Reset. Huh. I don't know where they went. Interesting. Well, I'll temporarily lock it up here then, because I wanted to be able to lock this one down, because sometimes if you try to draw on top of it, it'll select it. So what I can also do then is go to the brush tool, and the brushes have all kinds of options under here. Once you're on the brush, it just, you get you can have a lot of different options. You can see here you can choose options. I'm not seeing my options at the moment because something broke. But you would be able to choose your options for a brush just like you did in Photoshop. And then what I could do is once you choose your brush, some of the brushes you can also double click on them and you'll be able to choose like the angle of it if you want more calligraphic. So I'll just do something real fast here. But basically if I could just draw a shape. And then here's the tricky thing though. Technically this is not a shape, this is a line. The paintbrush makes lines. Why? I don't know. So from here you would actually change this into a shape. So you see this shift here? Here it's a line and it's got a thickness on it. I could make that thicker if I wanted to, okay? But if I want that to be a shape that I can join this shape, this has to change into a shape. So I have to go up to Object, expand its appearance, and then all I have to do is actually just do the Unite with the Pathfinder, or I can use the Shape Builder tool and simply take this shape and say, you're now part of that one, and you're part of that one, and so on. And not that far. Because it will. Anytime it senses that there's a closed shape, it immediately will want to figure it out and close it up. So then I could go back in and I could do some simple modifications, like of course that didn't sit real well, and then I could just delete some of these extra points, and eventually I could, fix that off. But I feel like that curve that I made was far easier with the brush tool, personally, and then just join the shapes together. Absolutely, yeah, because you can. Yeah, if my windows were up and working properly, then I'd be able to manipulate that brush thicker. Yeah, but if you're stuck, like again, you can just manipulate that point, and all of a sudden now, just by extending that part up higher, it feels like it matches the B. So yeah, curves, it's really up to you, but I personally like using this, because you could also just make a curve with the pen tool. I mean, there's nothing saying you couldn't do it. If you feel comfortable with the pen tool, you can do that. Well, you'd have to do it with a stroke on instead, but you can use whatever tools you want, as long as in the end you can change it to a shape, using the expand button, and then combine them together with your letter so that it truly is one seamless piece. What you don't want is a bunch of things cobbled together and kind of grouped, and you really do want it as one fluid shape, and that's definitely part of the process that we'll get through for the logo creation. So yeah, whether it's this or that, it's all good. I do want to show you one other quick thing to help you be able to start sketching your ideas, because for some of you guys this is going to be important. So I'm just going to go online real quick and grab an image of a leaf, just so you guys can, what I want to show you is a really simple way to do some tracing. So tracing means it's going to make, no, that's not what I wanted. It's going to make an image, a flat version of your image, is essentially what it's doing. So let's see if I can get this to open up a little bigger. Is it actually a photo? No. No, it doesn't want me to do it. All right, I'll cheat and just do a, it's probably because it's in Flickr. Well, I'll just do it. Oh, they set that up so I couldn't even do it. Okay. Let's not use that one. There we go. That Flickr was not giving me the options at all. So what you can do is open up an image or place an image. Either way, it's actually fine. I don't love placing things, but technically you can. So here's a bunch of leaf images. Now, if I want some really flat, like good for logo kind of things, this is definitely the direction you want to go. But you can do this with any image you have. This could be your hand lettering that you did in your sketchbook and scanned. This can be a graphic that you did in your sketchbook, however you want to think about it. But what happens is when you bring an image into Illustrator and you click on it, you guys see what happened at the top? I got different options. This option never showed itself before because we didn't have an image in here yet. So as soon as the image is in here, you get these options to do some image tracing. I'm going to make a copy of it just to have it handy. I don't particularly love this way of thinking because it's limited. I usually will go to image and go to image trace, and then I get its dialog box up a little bit more complicated right here. So I prefer this. Now, there's lots of different ways that you can trace something. You can trace something in color. You can trace something in black and white. If I want to break it down to 3 colors, you can kind of see how it interprets that. If I wanted to do 6 colors, they'll look better. Not that great though. It's partly because this is a really small image off of the web too. The better your image, the easier it will be to trace. You could try Grayscale. I don't know if you'd ever need that. Normally for most of us, we're doing black and white tracing. Just makes our job a little bit easier. The default that it does when it's black and white is 128. If you go lower, you get more white. If you go higher, you get more black. So at this point you can see before when I was in the middle-ish, I was still getting some lines in the leaf, but really if all I want is just an outline of a leaf, boom, I have it. Now I'm not quite done yet though. You can see this button hit up here that says expand. I could also just go up to expand here, but this is how Illustrator changes things that aren't technically vectors yet. If you hit expand on something, it'll change it into a vector. Just like the text wasn't really editable as a shape. So if you hit expand, all of a sudden then these are all individual shapes. They've got a white shape around them too, which I could fix if I go to the advanced levels. Under the advanced, sometimes you do need this. It really does depend on what the quality of image you have or what kind of thing you need. If you up the number of paths, can you guys see now that the leaves all of a sudden have like a textured edge, like it's picking up more information. So remember, paths is number of little, those little pathways. The higher the number, the more intricate the detail. Sometimes you don't want it to pick up detail though, so this is your optional area. Corners, sometimes they're more effective, sometimes they're not. It kind of depends on your image whether or not you'll even see a difference. Noise level does, affect it. If I had it to show more white, we'd see more. Can you guys see, like this feels different than the first round? It's a little bit more detailed, and the less, the higher the number, the less I'm seeing. So if you wanted more detail, you could push it all the way to that edge, which might be okay. Like if I wanted a little bit more of the vein lines in particular on this one. I might just, I don't know, I'm gonna keep it simple for this round. So up the number again. I don't think I want the number, yeah, I want it simple. And then down here, you can actually tell it to ignore white. So anything that is white, it won't create a shape from it, and that's probably what I want right now. That's not always what you want. If you had some letters and you wanted to fill in some parts that were white to color, you don't want it to ignore the white, you would keep it. But for now, I don't need it. So what that means is, I'll just show you over here. It's not considering the white. If I turn this back on, it would make a shape out of the white. I don't really need it, so for now I'll just delete it. And then I just hit the expand button, and now I've got all these lovely little leaves. Now it does, again, it wants to group it for me. It thinks it's being helpful, which sometimes if you are doing a really complicated image, there are thousands of pieces. You do want it to group all those together, at least temporarily for you. In this case, I don't. It's pretty simplistic. And now I don't love that one. I don't love that one. I don't like that one. I kind of like this one and this one. So I generally will move my items that I've done in this file over to whatever other one I was working on. So if I wanted to somehow like add a leaf, I could rotate maybe. I don't really recommend this, but it could kind of. It's not the best leaf. I think I would want to choose something that actually was a bit more obvious. But if there was something that I was doing where it was relating to nature, and I really wanted to make that more obvious, I mean, you know, you can easily add these items to a letter, okay? So any kind of shape that you can think of, you guys can add to it. And again, if these are shapes, all you have to do is go to the Pathfinder and tell them to unite. And then they're all one seamless shape. You change one color on one, you end up changing it. Oh, I didn't select it. There we go. It's selected. And then, yeah, so it's one big seamless thing. So text and image, please think of that way if you like that. If you just want to do text, but you want to be a little bit playful with it, please go in that direction. Everything changes with logo design once you hit Illustrator. It's just way more open. So I hope that gets you a little bit more enough information where you feel like your sketches can make sense according to what Illustrator can do for you. So take between now and next class to just think what you want your logos to be. Come to class with some sketches. They don't have to be perfect, but you should have your ideas pretty solid, and then I can help you make them happen. We'll continue to go through how Illustrator works, because obviously there's quite a few things over here we didn't quite get to. But to me, this is actually the core of it. What we touched today, if you only had these tools that I just showed you, you could still do a lot. So we'll finish off some of these ones, like the gradient. That's not difficult. Well, the color stuff is not that difficult because it's not too different from what Photoshop was. So anyway, get your sketches going, and then we'll make them happen. Now, if you know you want to have your logo based on a sketch, like you want to sketch it over the weekend, and you won't do type, you're actually going to, like, your text will be your handwritten stuff. See if you can get a scan of that or a decent photograph of it, and then we can just use the trace function on it. So feel free to do handmade text if you would like to.
For personal logos,